Tools in Shamanism. Fire is an important one. If you could see my desk layout, I'm surrounded by all of the tools here. I pulled them all out. It's not until you sort of pull them all out from their storage unit that you realise just how many there are, and this is only a fraction of them. So I'm excited to share. Welcome everyone. Lovely to see you all. And today on Shamanism Heals, the whole sort of set of webinars that I've been doing, we're going to talk about the tools that I personally use in shamanism. And so I'm going to literally share as many of the ones that I've got as possible. I say if I shared every single one, I think we'd be here for many hours. So I won't share everything. But what I like to do is always have a few slides so you're not just sort of staring at me the whole time. So let me just share my slideshow with you. And if you can give me a thumbs up that you can see it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, now I can't see you guys. Let me do that. That's it. I can see the slides and you. Voilà. Wow, Patty, that's an amazing background. Wow, look at that. Cool. Judy's is quite good as well. Right then, so tools in shamanism. What I'll just say is that the past webinars that I've done are all on my website under the blog, so you can find them all. So you had the soul retrieval, aura cleansing, ancestral healing, dismemberment journey, which was very powerful, meet the spirit teams, and then obviously the standard one of the dragons. Always got to have the dragons in there, of course, because they're big in my life. Actually, I've got a little one as well. Look at this. I found this out. I forgot I had it. Diddly little one. I'll show that more when we're not on the screen. And so so today we're talking about the tools, the drums, the crystals, the feathers, the physical tools. Obviously there's lots of spiritual tools as well. I'm not going to go about those today, just stick with the physicals. And then the next one will be shamanic breathwork, and then dragons in shamanism, explain how I use them. And then if there's a requirement, we will continue into 2024. And I'm still waiting for anyone to say, this is what I really like to know about shamanism. So do let me know, and I'll do my best to present it to you. So let's all, like we always do, just bring ourselves to this moment, because we've all got busy lives. We could all be doing something else. I understand that. So let's all just ask our minds to calm down, forget about what's occurred and what needs to occur, and bring yourself into your heart space, into your heart chakra. And if you want to, put your hand on your heart and just feel the beat of it. As one of my teachers always says, can you breathe? Yeah. Can you feel your heartbeat? Yeah, you're good. That's it. That's all you need. Sometimes we overcomplicate our lives with all the minutiae, but can you breathe? And is your heart beating? I mean, it's fairly basic, but you know, sometimes we don't appreciate just that simple thing. So welcome to this moment, and welcome to Shamanic Tools today. Beautiful. You can all come back, open your eyes, and be with us. Beautiful. So shamanic tools, right. As a shamanic practitioner, the tools are, I would say, the cherry on the cake. because really what we do is in the shamanic practices is work with the energy, but the tools just give it a bit of spice and a bit of energy. And what I've found over the years is that the tools almost call you, which might sound slightly strange, but in shamanism we believe in animism. We believe also that everything can have some sort of essence, not necessarily a soul, but the universe can put some energy into it. And the very first time I found a rattle, I'll show you it in more detail in a moment. I was in an antique shop shopping in somewhere, I can't exactly even remember where. I think it may have been in Lincolnshire where my parents are, and I was just looking, like, you're wandering around and you're a bit bored, so you go into the antique shop to see what you can see. And there was this group of rattles in the corner. And they're like, why do I want a rattle? I mean, what's the point? What do I want a rattle for? I mean, I'm not going to use a rattle for. This is before shamanism or anything. But it called to me up, so I picked it up and I thought, okay, I'll buy it. It was like £2 or something. So I brought it home, and it sat on the counter somewhere for a few years. And then I started my shamanic practice, and the teacher came out with a rattle, and she rattled it all over my body. I was like, oh, I've got one of those somewhere. So literally I put a couple of feathers on it and a bit of colourful string, and it became my shamanic rattle, and it's now been used on many healings, and yeah, I use it all the time. So it knew before I knew, or the universe knew before I knew, and put the energy into it to say, oi, Kev, you need that. So sometimes they'll come to you, you may not even know you need them. So just always be aware of that little tug if something comes to you, and just think to yourself, I might just be a shopaholic today, or actually is it calling me? And I have to admit, I'm a shopaholic sometimes, especially with the crystals, I think, like many of us. So yeah, so some tools will find you, and some you start to sort out for yourself. And for me, that my drum was certainly something. I had a calling myself to have a drum, and I was looking around and I looked at all the different drums, and I was like, I'm not sure I like those drums that are plain. I want something that's a bit more me. And I'll show you the drum in a little while and explain all the artwork on it and the whole process for creating that. So yeah, for me, the tools are something that assist you in the shamanic practice. They're something to hold. So you can hold a crystal in your hand, and it assists you. And all the crystals and things like that have energy. But I think the most important thing in shamanism is the intention. The intention is everything. And I say, for me, it feels to me that the tools enhance that intention. So if I sit here and say I want to do a soul retrieval, straight away I know that I get my round crystal, because that's where the soul fragment's going to sit in once it's been called in. So that the intention is to get the soul piece, but the crystal just assists. And that's how I think the tools are there to assist you. If you're in a situation where there's a roadside accident and you haven't got time to go home and get your crystals, then of course you as a shaman can work with just purely with the energy. It's just that it's a little bit of theatre, and it just, for me, it just makes the intention a lot stronger. Holding a crystal, holding the intention, lighting the candle, rattling the rattle, or whatever it is, pulling a card, burning some sage, like they just help you get into a place, and they're very powerful. Right, so that's the tools. So I also say that they are powerful in their own right. So a feather, I use feathers, and they will dust away negativity from your aura, literally from the layers. They're a tool. What you find when you're using feathers is the feather almost knows where the blockage is, and you start to trust the feather, and that's very powerful. And of course, sage is very strong on its own, and it cleanses the aura, also cleanses the air of like 99.9% of bugs. So if someone's got a flu, just get some sage out, burn it. That'll probably keep them away from you. Now I've got the Tibetan chimes. I use those to cleanse people that don't like smoke, and it's the same thing. It just cleanses. So again, it's got energy. Obviously, sound's got energy, but it's the chimes that create it. And of course, the shamanic drum. It's not just that melodic boom, 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 boom. It gets you into a state of. It takes you out of your mind and into your heart, and allows you to travel on shamanic journeys. There's also a huge energy in the drum. And Bonnie's done it because she's on my shamanic course, and so is Rosemary. They've birthed their drums, and there's a whole ritual where you birth the drum, and that drum that makes music suddenly becomes a shamanic tool, and it's got energy, and it's a portal. It opens a portal. Obviously the shaman has to go, I want the portal to open. It's just not going to open, but it's the drum, the energy of the drum that empowers that intention. And yeah, I mean, I love playing my drum. You'll often see me in its own big rucksack all over my back, and I'll be off for a walk, and I'll go and hike for 5 hours and sit in the middle of Dartmoor and just play the drum just to the earth and to the sky and to wherever sheep are watching, maybe a few cows. I just love it. It's beautiful. There's a few videos out there on the internet that you'll be able to find. Just put in English Mystic Drum and you'll see them. So, yes, I mean, I say the tools are often bright and powerful. And I'll stop the share and I'll show you my drum. So this is the smaller drum, and it's got all the different symbols on it. So it's got the dragons, it's got the wolf, it's got the Indians, it's got the sun, it's got the mermaids, it's got the dolphins, it's got the warriors, it's got the stone circles, it's got my lion, it's got the caduceus, it's got me standing there with the cobras that are my protectors. It's got some mushrooms, and it's got the tree of life. And that's the smaller travel one, because the bigger one is quite a bit bigger and quite a bit heavier. This one's got a lot more melody, and if you're at the back of it, the energy from it is huge. Whenever I'm playing it, it clears my eardrums out, that's for sure. But the whole process for creating the drum, as I say, I called the drum in. So what I did one day is I sat down, I was like, I quite like those plain ones, but actually I'd quite like one that's got some artwork that means something. So I sat down in my very childish drawings and drew it out. I then found an artist in Finland that turned it into what you see here, and then her partner create the drums. So this is deer hide, and it's very beautiful. As I was talking to Tina earlier about deer, so it's very powerful. And as I say, what we do is we birth the drums. So we go through a ritual where we present it to the east, the south, the north, the west, the fire, the water, the earth, and the air, the gods, the goddesses, and all the directions and all the elements and all the powerful beings. And what you do is you can do that in a powerful place. And I did mine on Dartmoor within a beautiful stone circle that's about 5,000 years old, and it's also the stone circle that I use for all of my shamanic journeys where we go and meet the dragons. So it's a very, very powerful place. Everyone that's ever been there physically has felt the energy. And when I was birthing her, I've actually, again, there's a video I'll have to find it out, but you can see at the moment after I've done the whole ceremony for sort of 10-15 minutes, there's a moment when I show her to the setting sun, and literally there's a in the video, you can see the energy flow. And I felt something come in, and as it came in, the essence said, I am Freya. And it's like, I am not the Freya, but I'm an essence of Freya. So the drum was empowered with that Norse goddess, and I get that it's the element of love that came in, not the war goddess that she can also be. So very powerful. So there's a load of chat. I'll just check the chat. Haven't found my drum yet. No, it'll be there when you need it. I agree. I'm involved in making my tools. Is that material of the drum, Patty? Yeah, I mean, I think they I would say don't use plastic because they do some plastic ones. But and if you're one of those people that doesn't want it to be an animal, I think they can use bamboo. I think. But yeah, mine's the hide of a deer, and I know they do horses and cows and all the rest of it. Um, yeah, you want to check that it's not something that's been killed in a way that you wouldn't want the energy to be in there. You want to sort of, yeah, you want to find someone that you know that if it's a hide of something, it's a clean hide, yeah, not cruelty. Cool. Right, what else do I need to say? You go back to the share. Does that do facilitate the birthing ceremony for drums? I could do, yeah. I mean, I've never actually. At one point, I was thinking, do I want to be able to create physical drums myself? And I looked at the process, and it's quite complicated. Um, so there are a lot of people that will sell you a kit, and if you're that sort of handsy-on type person, which I'm not very good at that, you can make your own. But yeah, I mean, if somebody had a drum, they wanted to learn the birthing of it, I can show you that. So yeah, so Michelle, definitely, you can sort that out. Right, we just there. Go back to share screen. Is it sharing again? Yep, perfect. Yeah, as I say, the drum is full of symbolism, and I would say if the house was, God forbid and Goddess forbid, burning down, then the tool I would save, sorry, the rest of you tools, would be the drum, definitely. Because it's got the most energy in it. It's the one I always travel with. I also travel with a crystal, which when we were on full screen, I show you it, but it used to be deep purple, and I take it everywhere. It's been to Peru twice. It's been to every single place you could ever imagine that there's any energy, and every time I put it on it, it gets clearer and clearer and clearer. And I've got some story in my mind that when it's pure clear, then that's my mission of going to the sacred place is done. So I'm probably about half done. But yeah, that one I imagine has got the energy of everything, and wherever I go, wherever I do, it comes with me. And if I don't take it for some reason, if I forget, then I just come back and I imbued it with the energy. And yeah, crystals are very good for that. Amazing tools. Right, next one. Right, so tools. I'll go through the list, and then I'll start showing you physically all the ones I've got, so you've got an idea what's there. But of course, tool set, definitely candles. Rattle we talked about, Tibetan chimes I'll show you, sage and burning receptacles for basically clearing the air. Feathers, again, make sure your feathers are not ones that shouldn't be sold. I've seen a few feathers in my time that they're from rare birds and yeah, really shouldn't be sold. I've actually got a story where I was driving once back from the horses and I had this tug. It's like, why am I getting tugged? What's happening? I just felt it in my heart. So I turned around at the next roundabout and came back and drove past, and I felt it again. I was like, what's that about? So I stopped on this dual carriageway, which was a bit naughty, and I found a hawk that had been, its head was completely smashed in. It obviously bumped into a car or a truck or something. So I picked it up and put it in my boot and drove home. And I was like, okay, I'll bury it. And then I saw all its beautiful feathers, and I was like, I asked it, I said, would you mind if I had some of your feathers? And I got a yeah, of course you can. So I took a whole bunch of the tail feathers off, and I've got them here, and I use them, and I've put some of them on my rattle. So I did that, and then I said, where do you want to be buried? And I got a picture of an oak tree. There's this huge oak tree at the bottom of the land. It's not our land. When we lived in Buckinghamshire, it was the farmer's land. So I went down there and I dug a hole and I put it in very deep and I gave it a blessing and I said thank you for the feathers. And I just sat there for a little while and I just imagined that its soul was going to fly into the oak tree, and I sat there and then I opened my eyes and I literally saw a soul of this hawk come out, and it flew up and it flew around. It flew around me a few times, and then literally it flew into the oak tree. And I was like, "Oh wow, how beautiful is that?" I was like, "Ah." So whenever I hear that tug in my heart, I always listen to it now. So yeah, so I've got those feathers. So that hawk's very special. So yeah, I've got the feathers. And of course, there's the lighters, the matches, stones. Stones are very useful. In my practice, I have a ring of 8 stones, and if I put those stones in a ring around me, it's a bit like the salt that witches use, or other people use, as a ring of protection. If I put those stones around me, they know they are a ring of protection. So if I'm ever doing anything where I'm removing something that's like an attachment, or it's got some sort of energy that's not nice and I don't want it to attach to me, then I'd put them around me, and they know their job is to create a beautiful ring of protection around me. And I always feel very, very safe inside it. And whenever a new client comes, I put them around the healing bed and imagine that it's like this. They create a sphere, force field, so only beautiful light can stay in there. Crystals. Who hasn't got a crystal? I'm sure everyone's got crystals, and who finds crystals all the time? You go shopping and they're everywhere, and you put your hand and go, "Oh, the beautiful energy of that crystal! I want that one." Yeah, I've got so many. It's scary. I'm addicted. I should. There'd be a circle of chairs, and we would say, "I'm addicted to crystals." I'm sure that's most of us. So yeah, but crystals are powerful. They've been around for a long, long time, and they hold such beautiful energy. And then there's oracle cards and runes, which I've just sort of got into recently. And if you guys are looking to buy stuff, Etsy, the website Etsy is amazing for all those sort of things. Don't use Amazon. Then you've got incense, lots of different smells. They awaken people, and there's healing energy in those. I've got gongs, drums, we've said, shells, beach shells. I often use a shell to burn the sage. And then there's water, Florida water, well water, sacred water. Whenever I go to Glastonbury, I've got a couple up there. I get one from the red and one from the white well, and I use those, to make sacred water. And again, if you put a circle around yourself with sacred water, protects you as well. Put a drop in your food and your drinks, all beautiful. And then of course all those wonderful pictures like the one behind, and the blankets, those are beautiful tools. The dream catcher that's behind me as well. More on full screen, you'll see that better. And then I've got the dragon runes, but I'll go back to that afterwards. That's a little bit of a sales pitch. Got your attention, so why not? Let me stop this share. Oh, some more chat. What's it saying, chat? Yeah, Etsy has it all. Yeah, crystal. Yeah, I like those dragon skull ones. I've never quite been cool myself, but I understand why people like them. Makes sense. Yeah, it all makes sense. It all starts to make sense. So I'll go through some of the tools I've got. So have you all got me on full screen so you can see? Speak of you. Perfect. Scary. So the rattle. This is the rattle. As you can see, it's I would say it's Jamaican, if it's anything. It's not overly shamanic, but so what? It doesn't matter. Sometimes we get a bit like, oh, it doesn't look Indian or whatever it is, but I put some feathers on it, and it's very powerful. It's very good for clearing the energy. And when I'm using it, it often feels like it's a snake, and I use it to clear energy out of people, and it comes a bit. So it's very powerful. And then some of the tools I use for dragon energy, and then what I'll do is I'll burn some sage on there, something like that, or some homemade ones. Maybe that's a little bit too big to burn on there. That'd be more on the fire. But I often use these things, white sage and dragon's blood, and they make a beautiful smell, and they burn very slowly. So if you're somewhere where you maybe don't want an open flame, those are really good to use. And I always have an open flame, always have the candle going. So let's go through some of my other tools. That probably the second tool that I'd say, if there were a reason to leave the house quickly, would be my Ankh, which is the divine masculine, the divine feminine in perfect balance. And obviously this is something that the Egyptians used, and you see it everywhere. And I've seen quite a lot of people with tattoos on themselves. And what I find with this, if I'm doing healings that are someone in the US and here I am in the UK, I'll ask them where they live. And often, if they give me their address, I'll actually find them, and I imagine them that now you can do Google Street View. I'm even looking at their house, so I'm like, okay, I imagine the energy going there to that house, to that person, and I just find that I send it through here, and it just helps concentrate the energy. And just having this, I mean, just holding it in my hand now, I can feel the crystal energy, which is beautiful. Just gonna have a pause moment with it. Just sending you all beautiful light energy. Yeah, powerful things, the Ankhs. I talked about the soul retrieval, and this is the crystal I use. So what I do is go on a soul retrieval mission, and I imagine that the piece of soul, if it wants to come back to the person, comes into here. And the last one I did with my friend Amanda, the crystal went purple. It was I was like, wow. So yeah, I said, look, your soul piece is in there, and you said, yeah, I can see it. It's purple. I was like, exactly. So that then gets put into the heart, into the head, and it's invited back. And it leaves the crystal, and then the crystal goes clear again. Which I was like, well, that's quite amazing. Another beautiful crystals, a bit like a wand. Beautiful egg ones. Very, very powerful, these ones. And then I've got this dragon eye crystal, which my teacher created, and I use that for the cleansings. That's very strong. It's very pink, with the colours coming through. So that's some of my crystals. Actually, I'll show you my purple one I said. So you might be able to see that it's quite faded. It was more that colour when it started, and it's going a bit like the bottom of that one. And to say this is the one that's been everywhere. It's walked to Machu Picchu twice. It's been to Stonehenge. It's been to every single place that I've ever been where I felt like there's energy. I think it needs to go to Egypt next. I think that's what it needs. So yeah, it does. It says it wants to go to Egypt. I think that's on the cards. And then I've also got crystals that I use to represent my dragons. So this one is Agatha. So often, and this is very rainbowy and beautiful. So I thought, when I imagine my dragons, I was like, I wish I had a crystal, and they're like, well, you can get one. So I've got one for each, and again, it sits on my temple. And something that I absolutely love, it sits in the center of my temple, is this beautiful tree, and it's called Dragonheart. And I was on a course, and one of the ladies there makes them, and she said, I just tap into what people want. I tap into their energy. She said, I've got a red stone coming through for you, and sort of a silver tree, very plain and simple. So it sounds good, sounds like me. And she said, I'm getting dragon heart. And I was like, yeah, that sounds amazing. And it is heart shaped. So when I post the videos, I'll put the links into her. She makes some amazing things. A lady in Germany. Cool. And then carrying on the dragon theme, when I was in Glastonbury, I made that mistake of going to one of the shops, and you can see it. It's a dragon wrapped around an egg. It's beautiful. It's got lovely energy. And then I say I've got the little diddly crystal dragons, so I've got some of those little ones as well. And then there's other ways of having your crystals is to have them on your wrist. And obviously each of these stones means something. So I know these ones I wear when I'm learning. They assist me to remember. I wear this one for protection from the Wi-Fi. I wear this one, copper, mainly for my arthritis, my fingers. And then the one that I always love to use is the pendulum, which is the rainbow one. And there are those days where you just can't decide. It's like both of these things are the same, and I have no idea. I'm stuck. And you ask your guides, and they're like, well, maybe. So I get this, and I go for a yes or no. So I start by saying, my name is Kevin, my name's Bob, and then I figure out what's yes and what's no today. And I say, is option 1 for my highest good? Yes or no? And it's like, is option 2? And there's always an answer. There's never a wishy-washy. I always get a yes, no. And often it's not the one I was hoping it was going to be. It's often the one that means I have to stand up and get on with it and stop hiding. But yeah, I find the pendulum with the crystals very powerful. All the same with the crystals. Yeah, I think we all are. Yeah, it's a beautiful egg. Actually, talking about eggs, Bonnie and Rosemary remember this, but a very simple tool is an egg, a chicken egg. And we did a healing, and we were amazed just how powerful the absorption energy of a chicken egg is. And what you do is you use the egg all over yourself, and again you sort of figure out where it's going to go, and you imagine it's removing all of the stagnant energy and all the rest of it, and then literally you take it in a ceremony and you break it outside into the earth. You let Pachamama Gaia absorb it. Very powerful. Just again, that you don't need all to spend lots of money. You can just get yourself a simple chicken egg. Obviously, the purer the egg, the better. What else have we got? We've got sacred water. I've got this that's just basically making the water purer, and it's got some beautiful geometry on it. And what I do is I just take normal water, I hydrogenate it, I put a little bit of the water from Glastonbury in it, and then that's my drinking water, and you definitely feel purer and stronger. Candles. This is a huge one. If you do a soul retrieval with someone with the beautiful crystal, what they get to do is they get one of these candles and they get to burn it every day for as long as they want. And what they do is they sit with their piece of soul that's been retrieved. So I did a soul retrieval as part of my training, and a 5-year-old part of my soul came back. And what you do is you welcome it back. It's been gone. I mean, mine been gone for quite a few years. I'm 57, and yeah, so it's a long time. 52 years it'd been away. So you sit with it and you burn it, and the idea is you just burn it all the way down till it's nothing, and while it's burning, you sit there with the intention that you're sitting with your soul, welcoming it back, explaining what's happened while it's been away hiding. Yeah, so I burnt mine down. That's for someone else. So candles, gongs. I'm sure you've all seen lots of little gongs. One day I want one of those huge, great big ones that fills the whole room, but at the moment my room's a bit too small for that, so I've just got the smaller ones. I'm not sure if the sound's coming too well on Zoom today, but obviously they're very powerful and useful. I use them for opening ceremonies, closing ceremonies, and just sort of bringing people back from when they've been on a journey often. It's very useful for that. On the water is the good old Florida water. Again, it's just use it for cleansing areas. Right. whole bunch of different things. This is something called a purification air spray that my shamanic teacher makes, and it's full of little crystals, so you can use those. I've got frankincense, I've got myrrh, I've got something called Merlin from Glastonbury. I've got tinctures that have got dandelion juice in them. I've got dragon crystals, which is actually a plant. I've got other crystals that make beautiful smells. So I find if you've got a new client coming in and you've got some sort of smoke floating around, there's some beautiful smells, it just helps them relax. I've never done aromatherapy, but that's something I definitely wish to learn a bit more about, because there's a lot of power in smell, isn't there? So that's on my education list for 2024, I think. Make sure the universe is awake. Yeah, that's true. I think it's always awake. I hope so. Right, what else we got? Oh, drumsticks. When you buy a drum, you end up falling down this black hole of drumsticks as well. It's a bit like crystals, so you end up with lots of them. So I've got this one, which is good and solid. So if I'm in a sort of a mood, which I normally am when I'm up on Dartmoor, it's a good solid one. It's got a good solid beat. So, oops, got myself hooked. If you use a big thick head, you get that boom boom sound. Or if you want a more quiet sound, then you've got these ones. They're much softer. This looks like I've got a funny hairstyle. And got another one. They're almost like dusters. And then I've got the double-headed one, which you can sort of do each side, boom, 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 if you want to go faster and faster. Very useful. And there's always, whenever I'm on Etsy, I always see another drumming stick that I think I must have. So I had one recently that was a piece of driftwood from Loch Lomond in Scotland, which was beautiful. So unfortunately, that one I got a bit. It was a bit thin like this, and I got a bit carried away, and it snapped in half. So it now lives in my little wood collection up there with the oak. There's more incense came in later. Demonstrate the sound difference. Yeah, I can show you the sound difference in the drum. So these are softer, so I'll see this one. You've got the two. And you can also use your hand, you can scrape it, you can do lots of different things on it. Then what else we got? Oh, the feathers. Need to show you the feathers. Yeah, welcome. I always like to keep my feathers somewhere safe, so they're in a box, because feathers can quite easily get mites, and you don't want mites in your feathers. So let me open it up. This one, Rosemary knows, because she was there when I purchased it. This is a beautiful one. I was just in a shop that we were leaving Tintagel after seeing King Arthur and his castle and Merlin in his cave and all the rest of it, and we were driving out. Rosemary wanted to say goodbye to the lady that she'd known for a week or so, and had some massages there and healings. And we popped in and I saw this on the shelf. I was like, oh, it's mine, that's mine. And it was like, yeah, I'm yours. And then I've got all these different ones. These are from my hawk friend that got hit by the lorry and I buried. There's a whole bunch in there, and there's a whole big box up the top there. So yeah, Try to squish it. I'll do that in a minute when I've got a bit more time. What else have we got? Magic journals are beautiful tools as well. So got crystals all over them, and I write my journals in beautiful books so that it means a bit more to me rather than some scrappy bit of paper. So, and I've got lots of those. lots and lots of them. So again, that's another thing you get addicted to: beautiful papyrus paper and beautiful coverings. Cool. What else have we got? Right, and we move to good old oracle cards. Definitely, when you get into this sort of thing, you do end up buying lots of stuff, and this is another hole you can fall down, because the oracle cards, I wasn't into them at first, and then I got my first set. I think this was my first set. Yeah, it was, from Diana Cooper, and you then become addicted to them. And now I've got Isis ones, which are extremely powerful. Extremely. I'll say that again. Extremely. Now I've got this beautiful Celtic pack. So I did a bit of Celtic shamanism, and there's a whole shelf over there full of them. And when I did the Dragon Thunder Summit, of course, I met all these other people that have got all these beautiful dragon sets. So I've been buying those up one by one. I need a bigger room. What else I've got? These sort of things. When I go to Peru, I buy whatever is indigenous. This is beautiful. It just spins. This one. It's so small you probably can't see it. It's like a little dragon. Very small. As I say, there's lots more dragon cards. And then one of the other things I probably would save if I had to get out of the house quickly is this. What they do is, when they teach you to learn shamanism, there's a point where you have to step into truly embodying shamanism, not just as a hobby, but as a way of life, as a career. And they ask you to find something that you're going to wear when you're being serious. So your mind, your body, and your soul know that you're serious. And this, for me, looks like a wolf. And that was me, the lone wolf. You can see the wolf there. I was the lone wolf, and it came in and said to me, you need to start community and start sharing, and that's why I'm doing these. And when I first started, I was like, rude words to it. No. And I gave in, as always. But yeah, what I do is, this is like a bandana. Sometimes I wear it as a bandana, sometimes I wear it around my neck. But as soon as I do this, I just feel all the energy. I can feel my shamanic temple. I can feel all my helpers, all my guides. I can feel them all getting ready. They know that Kevin's about to put this on, and it's serious. So yeah, I wear that for the big healings. It comes out and it sits with my temple the whole time, absorbing the energy. So that's another one of the powerful tools. He said, Wolf, you saw butterfly instead? Yeah, I've got butterflies. There's a butterfly up there. Butterflies are big in my life as well. That was one I drew basically after my nan died. When my nan died, as she was dying, she said, when you see a butterfly, it might be me. So whenever I see a butterfly now, it's like, haha, could be you, Nan. And if I say, is it you, Nan? Then often they'll come back and float around, and you're like, aha, it was you. Yeah, so that's beautiful. There's a cleansing process to keep them from daily. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's good to clean the feathers. If you're using them and they get mites on you, you can spread them to everything else, can't you? So you have to be careful. Right, chimes, that's what I didn't show you. And then, so these are called Tibetan chimes, and what I do is I use these, and the chime is nice and high pitch. But what I use them, I've attuned them to say, if the energy that I'm tapping at needs cleansing, then don't give us a ping. And they give us sort of a donk. And I use them, and I just go, okay, I go around a person's body, just imagining. So it's good and strong in here. If I put it near electrics, it often is a bit donk. If it's near an internet, it gets a donking sound. But if people have got a crown chakra issue and I do it over their crown, it will just go sort of donk, and I'll go, okay, I know I need to work on that. So it's like they're my little detectives of where I need to do the work. So they're beautiful. I'll probably save them as well. Right. Oh, and then there's the fun part. It's all fun, but as a shaman, I sometimes like to dress up. So I have my hats, and then we've got. I hardly wear this one, but sometimes, look like a farmer. And then you've got your Peruvian ones, and then you've got this one I did wear to Peru, so it's got Peruvian energy. Good old British cap. All bowler hats. And then if I'm outside in the winter on top of the moor, keeps my head warm when I'm drumming. And then another Peruvian one. Keeps your head warm. Not necessarily tools, but they're useful. Cool. Right, let me go back to sharing the screen. Screen. Beautiful. And then my little sales pitch to you is the dragon runes. The runes came into me, and 27 dragons came in over the last sort of 6 months. And then there's the Dragon's Runes course. So those as a tool, which feels amazing to me, because in collaboration with a friend who I've known since I was about 2, we went to Cubs together, and we went to school together, and his mum was my arcala, and then we went to college together. Then our first job we worked together, and then I was his best man and he was my best man. We reconnected recently, and he's got a laser printer, and he created all these beautiful runes on his laser printer. The dragons came to me with all of the runes and the artwork and all the rest of it. But yeah, he's created those, so it's been a lovely reconnection. So the dragons understand community and connection. Yeah, those are on runesofdragons.com. You can buy the runes themselves, which is £88.88. There's not a lot of profit in there. It takes quite a bit to create these, and they're very powerful. And then there's the course, which a few people have joined. That course is running continuously, so there's 27 runes. We're going to meet each dragon of the rune. So the dragons came to me and they said, this is my rune, this is my artwork, this is my wisdom. But the most important thing is that the people come and meet me, the dragon, because it's only then will they truly understand the message I have for them. And that's what the course is introducing people. So we'll go from 1 to 27, then we'll start again. So if you wanted to join the course at rune 15, you could, and you just then go from 15 to 27, and then 1 to 14. And if you wanted to stay forever and keep following the course round and round and round, I'd be happy for that. That's fine. It's just a one-off fee. So that's where that is. So a little sales pitch. Any questions from anyone about any of those tools? Has anyone got any thoughts on what they'd like to hear, maybe in 2024, about shamanism or anything else I could talk about? So, any questions?
Kevin, Patty.
Hey, Patty.
Wait, I still have a question about the drum.
Yeah,
I see some people that they get their drum and warm up like in the flame, like in the
yeah.
heat up. So they do that depending on the material, or why do they do that? Or you do that all the time?
Yeah, I mean, like this smaller drum, you can probably maybe I don't know if you can. It's got a slight indentation in it because it's a smaller surface. Then it seems to be more susceptible to the cold, and so a bit like your skin or anything else. When it's cold, it's not as elastic as when it's warmed. So what you do is, and I do it with mine, I'll put it. Not I don't. I've never put it by a flame. I might put it in the sunshine to warm it up, or I've got a little heater here to warm it up. So there's skin tension, and depending on the skin tension, you'll get a different sound. So obviously, the looser it is, the more like bloop, bloop, and then as it gets tauter and tauter, you get the more deeper sound. But when it's too tight, it sort of goes bing. It sounds terrible. So you get to know the tension by you put your hand on it and go, oh, it's a bit too soft today. So that's what they're doing. They're warming it up so that it gets to that sort of musical note that they like. And yeah, it will depend on the atmosphere. It depend on how much moisture is in the air. My drum hates it when it rains. It sounds awful. Um, so yeah, you're sort of drying it out, but not drying it out so much that it's too dry. So if it's too dry, you have to put some water on it. But if it's too wet, then you have to dry it out. You'll find out depending on the skin. So yeah, I mean, where
Wow.
you live, is it quite humid?
Yeah, it rains a lot,
Yeah. So
but
if
it's
you've got
warm.
it's warm. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd if you're thinking about getting a drum, I'd just go along to a shop that's got a whole bunch of them and just say, "Can I try a synthetic one, a bamboo one, a plant-based one, or whatever it is the skin one they've got." But yeah,
Thank you.
it's you have to experiment basically.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. But yeah, speak to a drum expert; they'll assist you. Anyone else got any questions? Chantal?
Hi. Yeah. And I don't know if it's the appropriate place to ask this question, but I was just wondering about the different types of shamanism. Like you're talking about going to Peru, and I know in Colombia. I mean, I understand
Yep.
that obviously our heritage and our ancestral, but I was just curious about the different types of shamanism.
Yeah,
That
I
was
mean, most of there's the big difference between the shamanic practices is the worlds. So if you go to the Nordics, they have the tree of life, and I think there's like 9 worlds that they talk about. The rest of the world, when it talks about shamanism, has the upper, the middle, and the lower worlds, and then every tribe has a different way of ritual. But the important thing, the thing that runs between all of them, is that the intention is the most important part, and that the shaman is the hollow bone. So a shaman has no power. No, they're not a healer or anything. It's that they are a hollow bone, so that they act like a tube that connects people that don't have access to that universal energy. They connect to it, and they're standing in that world and in our physical world, and then they're just channeling the energy through. But yeah, I've been to Colombia, to Peru. I've studied the Nordic and the Celtic, and the really it's the rituals and the words they use, but it's really the same. It's a bit like Reiki. Reiki's so different everywhere you go, but it's all got the same central point where you are connecting to a universal energy. You're channeling it through, and the person receiving the energy really heals themselves with the energy, and all the healer is a channel. And then when if people start saying that they've got the power. You're probably getting into the dark energies and the voodoos and some of the witches, the darker witches. So, but yeah, they're all a little bit different, and I like to go and learn from all of them. So my shamanic practice is a mishmash of all of them, and picking out the bits that work for me. So when people say, "What version is yours?" I was like, "Well, it's a bit of all of them." But the important thing always is hollow bone, connect to the energy, intention being the strongest bit, and being as egoless as possible as a healer. That really is it. And yeah, Bonnie's been on the course with me, and so is Rosemary, and we're sort of a long way into that, and I think they can see that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're most welcome. Any other questions? If not, I'll skip forward. And then, yeah, plugging my shamanic course. There's another shamanic course that starts in February. And basically, I've split that into the initiate, novice, and healer. And you can do each of those. So if you just want to be introduced to shamanism, there's the initiate. If you fancy going a bit into healing, there's a novice. But if you want to become a proper healer and do psycho pump and soul retrieval, then you go into the healer level. So I split the course into 3 levels, and it runs, if you run the whole way through, it runs for about 11 months. And we're coming to the last 2 or 3 months with Rosemary and Bonnie and Sarah that have been doing it with me this past year. And yeah, we've all been gaining more and more tools, and they've got their drums now, which is beautiful. So we're going to all get together soon and have a bit of a drum off and open a huge portal and save the whole planet, probably. So, but yeah, that course is there. If you're interested, let me know, and I've got a little waiting list I can put together, and obviously make sure it's right for you, and check out whether it's good for you. And that's the course. That's me standing in the forest nearby where I often go and play my drum. And then there's all my other bits. I'm a healer, so if you want to hire me for healing, then I'm there. But just go to EnglishMystic as one word.com, and all the information's there. And there's me. I'll stop sharing. I don't want to be overselling. This is more about sharing shamanism with you. Cool. Be interested in the Feb course. Cool. Yep. Send me an email. I know you do. Need to go. Thank you. You're welcome. I'd like a bit more info on the shamanic course. Yeah, if you just go to EnglishMystic.com, and you'll see all the information there. If not, I'll forward you it as a separate email. When I send this out, I'll put the links in there. But yeah, I love sharing it with people. It's just seeing people come alive, and I mean, I say, Rosemary, you did an absolutely beautiful testimonial for me about the course, didn't you? So I'll share the links to that so people can say that.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, your testimonial was gorgeous. It touched my heart.
Wow.
Mine's coming.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Yeah.
I love you both.
I love
Powerful
you too.
shamans in your own right now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Getting there.
Yeah, you're already there. You're already there, just pretending.
Wow.
Oh, well, it's beautiful to see everyone. Anyone, any last questions, Chantel?
Yeah, will you be sharing, the water?
Yeah.
Will you be sharing that link also?
The water link. Which one? Sorry.
And that you had that bottle.
All right.
Yeah, whatever. Because I could see that there was something. No, not
Oh, this one.
the water drinking bottle. Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just interested because I saw it had an element inside of it. I'm a total water fanatic with all the water.
All right.
Stuff too.
It's what's it called? It's got a name. I'll share it. I'll find it all out. I'll share all that. Yeah, but that was
so I just want
one.
to say I've done a foundation in a shamanic foundation years ago, and I do have a drum, but I don't know what my drum skin is made of. But I could also do a ceremony just to clear that, right? I mean, that's what I feel and that I can do just to
you can do that. And if you haven't felt like because again, Rosemary and Bonnie had their drums, but they'd never actually birthed them, and they found that. I mean, did you find that powerful, ladies, when you birthed your drum?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was
Oh,
funny
yeah.
because mine didn't want to be birthed right away. I had to wait several months before she finally let me know it was time. So
Yeah.
listen to your drum. It was
Yeah.
a very powerful birthing when she was ready.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that's what I received when I was hearing, because my drum has been with me for many years and she's in her case. And I thought, anyway, yes, thank you. And also when we were chatting, I know that the December slot hasn't been taken, but I thought maybe somebody else had said it. And I was like, oh, yes, a little drum birthing December would be amazing. But anyway, I'm just saying it.
Yeah, I'll write that down. Drum birthing. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, well, it's fine. We can move things around. I think I can't remember what I said for December now, but yeah, I'm happy to do a drum birthing if what everyone wants to do. We can have a little ceremony.
Yeah.
Little ant has just walked across my laptop, so it's saying patience, patience. But yeah,
Beautiful.
That is a great idea, because when I was doing that in the forest, I was going with bus, and I prepare myself the energy with two of my drums, and then going slowly in the forest and did that ceremony as an extra ceremony where the trees was the audience and the land and the air and everything, and my dragon was flying over. I have telling you that before, Kevin, that she was saying I wants to fly, so
Yep.
I had to go there. So this is great to do that as a serious ceremony from your soul and
Yeah.
to the drums. Yeah, that is really special.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can do that. We've probably
yeah,
got time to do a couple of things for the December one, but yeah, we can bring that in. And any
yeah.
other suggestions for anything in 2024? I need to birth mine since I didn't make it. Yeah, sounds good.
Mm,
Yeah, I didn't make mine either. But I think even if you do make them, you can rebirth them as well.
mm,
So
mm.
if you wanted to do that, you can rebirth them. Maybe because what can happen is someone else might start using your drum, and when you bring it back to you, you need to reconnect its energy with yourself. So
Yeah,
that's worth doing that. Cool. Well, it's beautiful seeing you all. We
yeah.
are
Thank
here
you again.
next month. You're
Thank
welcome,
you
and
so
I'll
much.
post it everywhere, and I'll put all the links together, and I say it'll be on my blog, but should be able to get it done tomorrow. So I'll message you all. Beautiful to see you all. Have a
Yeah,
good rest of your day.
yeah.
Bye-bye. Thanks again.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Hey.